Wow, that worked. I'm amazed. Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Sheridan, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm pleased to be joining Dan Wheat Rivers and several other from our congregation on the chancel this morning to celebrate the power of the vote. We welcome you to this sanctuary and worship service, as well as welcome those of you joining us online. So let's all turn around and say hey to the folks on Zoom. Hey, Zoomers. We hope that in this congregation and sacred space, wherever it may be, you will be strengthened by spiritual encouragement and find comfort from those who join with you this morning in worship. As we enter worship, please take a moment, as I often think of it, to engage in the deep spiritual practice of the turning off of the cell phones. So I'll give you a moment to do that. To everyone familiar and everyone new to this congregation, you are welcomed with love. If you are in person, you are invited to stop by the welcome table in the vestibule if you would like to learn more about this congregation and Unitarian Universalism. If you are joining us online, please visit the newcomer page on the website at www.uucwnc.org to get acquainted with us. So at this time, we invite any visitors or folks who have been away from us for a while to introduce or reintroduce yourselves, if you would feel comfortable doing so. If you're on Zoom, you may drop a line in the chat box. So, over here on the left, do we have any new folks or folks who have been away for a while? Got all veterans? Great. In the middle, do we have anyone new here today? Yes, please.
I'm Dory.
Hi, Dory. Hi, Dory. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. And how about over here? Yes.
My name's Matt. This is my son Max. It's our first time here.
Okay, great. And hey. And names are important, so it's Nat and Max. Did I get that right? Okay, wonderful. And anybody over here new? Nope. Anyone else? Anywhere? Well, welcome to you all for joining us in worship this morning. So announcements, I was told there weren't any, but apparently there are. I just briefly want to say before we get into them, in our weekly digest, read the digest, people, please. Please find announcements for some of the many activities that are happening in our congregation. You can find the digest at our website under the About Newsletter tab. There's also a calendar of events posted on the wall on the way back to Dobkin Hall, which is located in the back of the building. Please join us there after service for coffee and conversation. So now, the first of the non-announcements is Reverend Kelly. Come on.
Greetings, everyone. After the service today, in the Memorial Garden, which is through the trees at the back of the building, the seekers, the small kiddos, are going to be handing out candy to the grown-ups. So we invite you to come through, see our costumes, and have some sweet treats.
That sounds like great fun. You can always have more candy. And Jimmy Reeves.
I was given 2 sentences, but you already used one of them. Please read the digest. And I'm up here to say something that is in the digest, which is that the board has approved funding for the fencing that we want to put up so we can create an outdoor space for everyone. I have to say we had help. We had a donation, a significant donation, and Rob Mayers has gotten us the materials at cost. Now we need labor, human labor. We're going to put up the fence ourselves. Rob will be the kind of construction organizer. He's already got all the plans made. We just need volunteers. My email is botpresident@uucwnc.org. You can email me. And Reverend Alyssa is probably going to set up a survey monkey to try to get folks to sign up. We need 8 to 10 sign-ups, Rob? Stand up, Rob. Let everybody know who you are. Okay, that was more sentences. Thank you.
Well, and I actually have an announcement of my own. So I do want to lift up the I in LGBTQIA by noting that yesterday was Intersex Awareness Day, which was established in 2003 to celebrate visibility and highlight the issues facing intersex persons. May we stand in solidarity with these members of the beloved community. So that's my announcement. So, and now, let us take a moment to settle ourselves, to open our hearts and our minds to what worship will bring this morning. At the sounding of the chimes, let our spirits enter into a different space, a space of worship, of life, of love, of that which we hold sacred. May we take this time to grow our souls.
I have a voice, started out as a whisper, turned into a scream, made a beautiful noise, shoulder to shoulder marching in the street. When you're all alone, it's a quiet breeze, but when you stand together, it's a choir of thunder and rain. Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice. I'm not living to die. Don't stand in a wasteland, look at me in the eye. Stop living a lie and stand up next to me. You've gotta put one foot in front of the other, with a hand in a hand, holding on to each other. Go on and rejoice, 'cause you have a voice. It is loud, it is clear, and it's stronger than your fear. It's believing you belong. It's for calling out the wrong. From the silence of my sisters to the violence of my brothers, we can rage against the river, feel the pain of another. I have a voice, I have a voice, and I let it speak for the ones who aren't yet really free. It's killing me. No one is saying what we need to hear. I will not let silence win. Not when I see all the pain our people are in. There's no other choice, 'cause I have a voice. It is loud, it is clear, it is stronger than your fears. It's believing you belong. It's for calling out the wrong. From the mouths of our mothers to the lips of our daughters, we can dream like our brothers, speaking loud like our fathers. We can heal. Can you hear us? Can you hear us now? I have a voice, started out as a whisper, turned into a scream, made a beautiful noise, shoulder to shoulder marching in the street. when you're all alone, it's a quiet breeze. But when you stand together, it's a choir of thunder and rain. Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice.
Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice.
Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice.
Please join me in the unison chalice lighting, which will appear on the screens. The Sale family is going to be our chalice lighters, so if you could come forward. This is The Great Turning, which was written by our own Reverend Lisa Garcia Sampson. There you go. In these wild, historic, and uncertain times, we gather to remember who we are, who we belong to, and what we are called to do. As we light this chalice, we kindle the spirits of great turning, the movement for justice alive in this nation today. May we feel it in our bones and in the stillness of this hour. May we sense it calling our name. And so now if you can stand, if you're willing or able, and sing hymn 323, which is in the gray hymnal, but will also be on the screen. And now Peter Rowich is going to lead the children in our story for all ages.
See, good morning. Today's book is called Show Up and Vote by Ani DeFranco. As best I remember, here's how it went. I learned what it meant to show up and vote. It was a nasty November, windy and rainy. I was complaining about my wet coat. But Mama said, listen, we're on a mission that by definition, no one can do for us. And I need you with me, no matter the weather. We do this together, this job that's before us. It's a very important job. Can I have you say that with me? It's a very important job. Ooh, let's have our grown-ups say that too. It's a very important job. Thank you. When we got to the building, there were signs and labels, and sitting at the table was our neighbor, Ms. Cook. She looked happy and styling, busy and smiling. She was joking with Mama as she paged through a book. And in that book, she found my mom's name. Mama signed her name again, right next to it. It felt like we belonged there. Then I discovered that we knew others, like my brother's friend's mother, who worked at my school. And I saw that bald girl who paints pictures on walls that are wild and tall and colorful and cool. I said, looks like the whole neighborhood's got the same job to do. Mama nodded. She looked impressed and said, yes, you're catching on. It made me feel proud that I figured something out, and I felt proud to be there helping my mom. Then I got excited when we got invited into a booth and the curtain was drawn. It seemed special and secret that no one could see us. I felt kind of nervous, but Mama looked calm. Like Mama knew we have a job to do. Everyone says, a very important job. She said, here's the part where it all starts, where us people have a say about laws and rules, about parks and schools, about who's going to run them and in what way. Then she chose the names, and I pushed the buttons, and each little button lighted a light. We voted for the ones who will get things done, take care of things for everyone, and make things right. Before the last button, Mama paused and said, imagine all the people doing the same thing right now. Can you imagine if all of the people did the same thing? I imagined all those people in my mind. This says vote here. I felt connected to them. On our way out, we got stickers that noted that we voted, Mama and I. She stuck hers on her purse. I stuck mine on my coat, which I just noticed was almost dry. And on our way home, I looked all around. The same things were there, but I saw a lot more. The rain had stopped. The streetlights were on. I saw people in windows and walking through doors. I thought about everyone working together. I thought about each person doing their part. I thought about people looking out for each other, and how showing up to vote is how it all starts. I hope each of you have an opportunity to do a very important job, with our adults. Thank you so much. We're going to sing you out to the RE program.
Yes, that's my kid running because she forgot her socks. At this time in the service, we take a moment to recognize joys and sorrows that we are holding in our hearts this week. Those present in the sanctuary are invited to come forward as you feel so moved to light a candle or place a shell or river stone in the fountain. If you are online, please feel free to enter your joys and concerns in the chat box. Every week, we also read any joys or concerns that have been submitted to us in advance. If you would like to do that, please email joysandsorrows@uucwnc.org no later than 5 o'clock on Saturday before the service. And this week, we have one celebration to share, and that is Keith Ralph's 98th birthday was recently. As you come forward today to light a candle or place a shell or stone, or if you are entering a joy or sorrow in the chat, may you feel the love and companionship of those who surround you here and online. As our friends come forward, please let us sing hymn 123, Spirit of Life. Let us hold all the joys and sorrows, both spoken and those felt within our hearts today. May we hold each other in love and compassion during the week that follows. And now, if you'll join me in a responsive reading, for those that would like to look it up in the hymnal, it's number 468, otherwise it's on the screens. We Need One Another by George E. Odell. I will read the regular print and you can respond with the italicized print. We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted.
We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid.
We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again.
We need one another when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone.
We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share our triumphs.
We need one another in the hour of defeat, when with encouragement we might endure and stand again.
We need one another when we come to die and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey.
All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us.
This morning, we've asked a few people to speak on why voting is important to them. Rob Myers is going to come up first, followed by Beth Sale.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rob Mayers. Why voting is important to me is standing for the oppressed and always doing what is right. What I'm about to read is written by Martin Luther King Jr., February 6, 1968. I think there is an answer to that myth, and it is that time is neutral. It can be used either constructively or destructively. And I'm absolutely convinced that the forces of ill will in our nation, the extreme rightists in our nation, have often used time much more effectively than the forces of goodwill. And it may well be that we will have to repent in this generation, not merely for the vitriolic words of the bad people and the violent actions of the bad people, but for the appalling silence and indifference of the good people who sit around and say, wait on time. Somewhere we must come to see that social progress never rolls in on the wheels of inevitability. It comes through the tireless efforts and the persistent work of dedicated individuals, and without this hard work, time itself becomes an ally of the primitive forces of social stagnation. And so we must help time, and we must realize the time is always right to do right. This was set a time of great social change in this country, and it is our duty as the people of good-willed individuals to fight off social stagnation in this country. And that's why I always vote for progress and freedom. Thank you for letting me speak today.
Good morning. My name is Beth Sale, and I'm really nervous, so please bear with me. I'm a graduate student at UNCW studying environmental education, and I have the current privilege of developing and implementing an environmental outreach program for one of the most underserved schools in New Hanover County. As an environmental educator, it's quite literally my job to stay informed about the latest science, to know how to properly interpret that science, and to relay that science to children in kindergarten through grade 8. My lessons, which are hands-on and play-based, are conducted in the hopes that children I'm able to reach will turn into tomorrow's environmental stewards. I try to instill a sense of agency in these kids. I want them to become invested in the world around them, and I want them to feel like they have the power to change it for the better. There is repeated research showing that children who are exposed to environmental education are more likely to adopt pro-environmental values and advocate for conservation efforts as adults. My own research has also shown me that environmental education builds other strengths in children, such as problem solving, teamwork, and critical thinking. They feel empowered to create change in their own communities. That's especially important to me as the mother of a bright and curious 7-year-old. She has been raised in a household where we value taking care of our planet, and as a result, she values it too. And that's so important to me. After all, it's her future. And what does that future look like? Well, almost every single reputable climate scientist out there will tell you that the planet is warming at an unprecedented rate, very certainly caused by human impact. Carbon dioxide levels in our atmosphere, responsible for over 75% of greenhouse gas emissions contributing to global warming, are almost double what they were just 70 years ago. 1.2 trillion tons of ice is melting every year, contributing to sea level rise, which has significant impacts on coastal communities like ours. Higher sea temperatures are responsible for increasing storms such as Hurricane Helene, which devastated western North Carolina just weeks ago. Voting matters to me because these issues are undeniable, yet there are politicians running for office who deny them anyway. Voting matters to me because the issues I've just mentioned are fixable, but only with climate-conscious policy change. I'm voting for a future that includes plans to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. I'm voting for a future that includes aid for states to address flooding and extreme heat caused by climate change, for tax credits for those of us who want to invest in clean energy for our homes. And I'm voting for candidates who support fully funded schools so that programs like the one I'm leading can reach all children in all classrooms. After all, they are the future, not us. In 30, 40 years, most of us will be gone, but they'll be here. Our decisions will shape the kind of world that they'll inherit. We must vote for scientifically backed policies to ensure they have a future to look forward to. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob and Beth, for sharing. We love hearing so many voices here and so many different ideas. This week's Share the Plate organization is Family Promise of the Lower Cape Fear, which delivers innovative solutions for families' homelessness. They provide emergency shelter to those facing a housing crisis and transitional housing to families that are victims of domestic violence. Because Family Promise of the Lower Cape Fear offers a hand up instead of a hand out, they have a 96% success rate of clients moving out of their emergency housing into permanent housing and staying housed for at least 2 years. For years, our congregation has provided a variety of resources, including preparing, delivering, and serving dinners and fellowship for 3 families at the temporary shelter. Tina Schenk is our coordinator for this outreach opportunity, so ask her for more information and to be part of the group here that has fun while giving back to our community. Family Promise believes every child deserves a place to call home. Your donation will help make that happen. If you are contributing by check, please put STP in the memo field. You can also text your donation to 813-513-0597 or donate directly from our website under the Donate tab. Would the ushers please come forward to take the collection? Thank you, Andrew. We've got 2 more speakers. We're going to hear from Thea and then from Jimmy.
Good morning. Why do I vote? I vote for a lot of reasons. I vote for my seedling self, who 52 years ago this month was going door to door with my first presidential campaign to convince my neighbors to vote for my candidate. As a 16-year-old who could not vote myself, I still had an idea and I was convinced that this nice man with these what seemed like really common sense ideas, my candidate, was the best choice for the country. I was vindicated when, despite my candidate's loss, the other guy left the presidency in disgrace just 2 years later. I told you so is very cold comfort and just sounds snarky coming from a 16-year-old. And I really don't want to do that again this year. So I voted for her, that young lady, and for me. I vote for the woman who would have been my great Aunt Nettie, who died about 100 years ago today, or somewhere around today, before reaching her 23rd birthday. Cause of death, septic abortion. God, how are we here again? As a grandchild of immigrants, I vote for my grandparents who came here hoping for a better life, believing in the prospect of greater opportunities for their future families. That wish has pretty much come true, with great thanks for their incredible striving and love, and for that of so many immigrants who came before them and after them. I vote for them too. I vote for my youngest relatives because I want to grow up in an evolving and striving democracy with room for all types of ideas and life choices. This faith has been shaken in the past few years, but it stubbornly remains, and I affirm it with my vote. For those who wonder how their one vote could make a difference, let's look to the delegate Harry Burns from Tennessee, who with his one last vote in August of 1920 helped secure the votes of women throughout the United States. How about Mike McDonald's one vote in Omaha, Nebraska just a few weeks ago, which refused winner-take-all status to the entire state for their electoral college votes? Do not downplay your ability to make a difference. I take comfort in the words of 19th century Unitarian minister Edward Everett Hale. I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. Thank you.
Much of what I would say has already been said, and so I'm sure you're going to be sad to hear that I won't talk for very long. But I do want to say that, when you think about, there's me, my vote, that vote, more likely than not, isn't going to change anything. That mentality can go into your head, but then you realize what happens when you don't vote. You realize what happens when things that are happening in our society that you disagree with or have a problem with, you didn't have anything to say about that. Voting is a way to say. And it's another thing. I was privileged, along with 70 of us, to do the Souls to the Polls last Sunday. Voting with 200 or 300 like-minded people was amazing. And as we go through this next period, regardless of how the election comes out, it's us, it's this family that is going to support us. It's us, it's this family that will provide for us the hope, the support, and the understanding. And Reverend Alyssa has expressed the need, as has Reverend Kelly, to go out to the community and make connections with other like-minded faiths. And in this environment, again, regardless of who wins in a week and a half, we will need each other more and more. So please see this church. I hope you can see this church the way I see it. As I look out over the group of you and know 75% of you, probably 50% by name, but 75% of you, please realize that this is the place we come to celebrate and we come to get support. Thank you.
Thank you, Thea and Jimmy, for your words. This has become a family for so many of us, and so I just echo Jimmy's words on that. Now, if you'll join us in singing hymn 134, Our World is One World, please rise as you are willing or able.
So, I don't know whether you remember, but on May 5th of 2024, we launched our Supporting Democracy and Voting Rights Act. And we boldly said that we committed to taking 500 pro-democracy actions. And the minute we said that, or it came out of my mouth, I went, well, or maybe 250, or I don't know. But we also promised we would come back to you and let everyone know how we're doing. So that's what the next part of the service is going to be about. And to remind you, on the next slide, of what our actions were, we had 3 tiers of actions. Some were easier to do, like writing postcards or sharing materials. Some took a little bit more effort, which was tier 2 actions, phone banking, serving as a poll monitor, et cetera. And some are considered tier 3 actions. So that's what we said we would do. So let me tell you what we've done. Action 1, we reached 4,400 voters. Not bad, not shabby. 3,375 Reclaim Our Vote postcards and 1,025 Vote Forward letters. So that was action 1. Action 2, oh, thank you, Kelly. Action 2 was to share election information. And that involved taking the nitty-gritty of this is how you vote, this is what's required, here's the early voting period, this is what you need to be aware of in terms of your voting rights. And 12 of us went out and shared this information with 69 local businesses, nonprofits, and other contacts. And they posted it in their shops, and hopefully their customers and everybody else saw it. Action 3, which was our first action that we took actually, almost 100 of us wrote to our county and state board of elections advocating for the full 17-day early election period. And I have to think that we helped have that happen, both in New Hanover County and Brunswick County, that's awesome. It's so important, especially to keep Sunday voting, and there's been moves to erase that, so yay us. And then another 63 folks wrote to the county commissioners to support adequate funding for local boards. And action number 4 is to share candidates' stances. Where are they on the key issues? There's a lot of people on that ballot, and it gets a little confusing. So far, 28 of us have shared 145 handouts to various folks, and we have a lot left over. We actually ordered 500. So after service, I've got a bunch that you can grab. It can count as another action, and you can let people know about it. And please let people know about the Vote No on Citizens' Right Amendment. And if you don't know what that is, please visit the action table after service. Action 5 is phone banking. It's kind of hard to get people to do phone banking. We're going to work on that for the next election. But 9 of us participated in 11 phone banks so far with our partners, and that's ongoing. You the Vote, Side with Love has a phone bank every Tuesday until Election Day. And there's also phone banking you can do with You Can Vote, where you contact people that have registered with us and just make sure that they have voted or they have a plan to vote. So we need to step up our phone banking game, but we're getting there. Voter registration, we know how important that is, right? So 42 of us engaged in 54 You Can Vote training or voter registration events. That was pretty darn good. Action 7, serving as a poll monitor, and that's where it's so important. Peter and I just got back from Raleigh yesterday, and we're a kind of a special kind of poll monitor where there had been intimidation at various sites in Cary and Wake County. And so there was a group of us who sang as folks were going to vote and thanked people for voting, and the people there said, boy, you really helped keep the tension down and the climate and much more hospitable. So poll monitors observe and report things that aren't going so great and help with everybody have the right to vote. And this is still ongoing, and you can get involved with that still if you'd like. The next is taking folks to the polls, people with disabilities or elderly or folks who can't just get there themselves. And we have 14 teams, 28 people, who have provided 30 time slots over 14 days of early voting and on Election Day. So that's really great. I was really pleased with that. Issue-based canvassing. A lot of you did partisan canvassing, and that's great. But we had to involve ourselves in nonpartisan canvassing, and we had 4 of us who participated in issue-based canvassing, and this is still ongoing, they call it ballot canvassing. So when people vote, who've already voted, and there's a problem with their vote, they have a short amount of time to actually come back and correct it so that their vote counts. And so you can be a canvasser that simply goes and puts a handout on their doorknob letting them know, hey, there's a problem with your vote, contact the voting place and be able to have your vote counts. That's really important, and that's still going on. Action 10 was serving on our safety team, and we really stepped up for this. 42 of us participated in 1 or more de-escalation training events, and 35 served as peace monitors during 3 events and 1 upcoming. The Long March to Unity and Justice, woohoo, I think we had 32 or 34 people there. Power to the Polls, Souls to the Polls last Sunday, and the upcoming Women of Wilmington's Women's Rally, and that's still happening, coming up on the 3rd, I believe. So we now have a robust safety team that we can use going into the future when we need to have events that have peace monitors there. And the Blueprint NC Chill team, that's a group of folks who are willing to be called to go anywhere in the state. That's kind of what Peter and I were doing yesterday and why we found ourselves up in Cary, North Carolina. And so that's a statewide endeavor put on by Blueprint North Carolina with support by UU Justice NC, and that's still ongoing. And 6 of you have received training as poll workers and have signed up to work the polls. And let's give a really big hand for poll workers. I saw one harassed yesterday, and so we really need to support our poll workers, and that work is still ongoing. And then one of us participated as a captain in 4 You Can Vote activities. That's arranging it, reporting it, etc. And then finally, there's this thing called congregational leader. And 2 of us, thank you, Pamela Cook, very much for your help with doing this. There were 46 different activities that Pam and I did, organizing the other 13 voting actions, representing over 100 hours this last few months. So, other actions were also taken. 87 of us took other creative pro-democracy kinds of nonpartisan actions, like sending information to friends and families and coworkers. Say, you too can email the Board of Elections, and here's the material you need to do that. Posting information on our personal Facebook or other social media things. Hosting postcard parties. Donating money for stamps. That was a very much appreciated action. And showing up for things like the Long March for Unity and Justice and Souls to the Polls. Was so pleased to see there was actually 72 of us at Souls to the Polls. So let's give ourselves a hand for that. Okay, I do believe I hear the footsteps of the democracy ninja who was with us on May 5th, and it's not the baby. Okay. Come on. Keep your fingers crossed here, folks.
Where's Dan?
Dan. I was not expecting that. I didn't know I'd need hazard pay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need some help getting this out of my eyes at some point.
Just enjoy it for another month or two.
Not right now. I don't need help right now. Hug me.
Did you have anything else to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we not only hit our 500 goal, we more than doubled it. So at this point, and actually last night we added 5 more, but so we're up to 1,086 democracy actions. That involves 321 UU members and friends. So it was us, and we reached out to our friends as well. And it's now over 1,433 hours. Yeah. So, I want to say something serious and from the heart, if I can get it together here. I was just so gratified to be part of this congregation and how we all stepped up to the plate. It made all the hours worth it. And there's going to be a whole lot of work to do after the election too, right? So I'm really hoping that the energy, the engagement, the commitment that we were able to do together during this election season will be able to bring forward into the many, many other elections, but also super important social justice actions that this congregation continues to really live its faith into action. So thank you so much.
So we're pausing all the work Michael has done on this for a minute to show gratitude for her can-do attitude. Without her commitment of energy, time, we would never have crossed today's finish line. She said, "Let's get out the vote. Let's give it our all. We simply can't let our democracy fall." We wrote letters and postcards, telephoned strangers. She encouraged us onward and minimized dangers. We said, "We can't make it this battle's uphill." Her response, "Yes, we can. We can and we will." This task occupied her for hours and hours. The least we could offer are a few measly flowers. And seriously, if all of Michael's hours and engagements were up there, we would probably add at least 50% to those numbers. She has worked tirelessly on this and has not recorded everything that she's done. And she has done all of the organizing pretty much for our democracy campaign. So thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
At this point, we want to thank all the people who made this service possible. A huge thank you to our speakers. Some you've heard before and some not, and some went way out of their comfort zone to grace us with their words, and we appreciate that. And to all of the music that we have enjoyed today, our music team is doing such a great job of putting everything together. And of course, to our social justice team and our democracy ninja, we thank you for your time. Now, if you'll join with me in extinguishing the chalice, the words should be on your screens. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Boy, it's been really something being involved in this, and I just want to thank everyone for all the work that we've done. The benediction today is the words from Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia. A vote is a kind of prayer for the world that we desire for ourselves and our children, and our prayers are stronger when we pray together. The words of Raphael Warnock.
We might be volunteering a few of you for cleanup crew after this. Now's the time in our service where we gather together, stand, join hands, and sing shalom. This is a very long-standing tradition in our service.